1976 was a booming year for Polish jazz rock, and one of the best examples was the band Extraval from their album Birthday, the track The Seven. Okay, already we're thrust into this really creamy, percussive vibe. Yeah, lots of drums kicking up dust and that creamy mid 70s Fender Rhodes with kind of that bassy production. A lot of cymbals on this too, kind of cymbal spray. Not something you always hear in electrified jazz of this time period, but I like how it mixes with the Fender, giving kind of like a misty, creamy vibe. Okay, we're hearing some interplay between saxist Andrzej Olen. I can I refrain from that, and pianist. Let's see, Sendecki, who plays electric piano, regular piano, and synthesizer, and is one of the main composers in the band. The bass is really kind of like spinning things around here. Yeah, the electric bass is walking around really fast. This has actually got a lot more kind of traditional jazz. In fact, the only thing that's really jazz rock about this is the Fender keyboard. Hear the saxes just really stretch out, really just deliver those notes with such fluidity. Yeah, it's the rhythm section though that's giving us this like wind tunnel effect. Like the bass just kind of like spinning things around and around and around, walking really fast. The drummer giving us all this kind of cymbal mist, kind of like a hurricane. And yeah, and the sax is just kind of billowing right through it, just like with persistence. Now we got some real light legato, seemingly hollow body licks from Jarosław Śmietana, who, guitar lead, and he's the other composer in the band. So light, so refined, yet so fluid. Not that it matters, but I had never noticed just how actually like traditional jazz this is. This is basically like almost like a late 50s post-bop album, just with the Fender Rhodes added to it, and that mid 70s kind of bassy, misty production. Okay, well, two main differences. There's electric bass and electric piano. really fluid, really hitting lots of notes, showing his dexterity. Now he's using the other hand. I'm hearing some bass sustained notes. Very glowy tone. Beaming light in the dark in a mid-70s smoky jazz club. You know, I don't think not many albums come to mind where I've heard electric bass on a jazz rock album played like traditional, like stand up, played like in the style of like with like all that just like walking around, like walking bass on electric bass. Usually when in jazz rock, you know, with electric bass, the bassist will be playing like these crisp ostinato patterns and such. Maybe a few fluid runs, but rarely do they go into that more like 50s type of style of bass playing. Once again, I can't help but comment. A unique period in time where drummers knew how to make kind of like this artful, controlled use of cymbals, of like cymbal sustain, of knowing when to drop out, knowing when to add like no drums or anything, but just kind of use the cymbals as sort of like a kind of an atmospheric sonic layer to the quiet proceedings. Like just a light bit of mist. Notice how the pianist, the Fender player, is really showing range on his instrument, because he was doing that really staccato solo full of arpeggios, and now he's giving us all these like sustained notes, these kind of blurry tones and such. And the guitar kind of lightly going on. Interesting three-man show between just kind of like a candlelighter passage, like between the guitarist, keyboardist, and drummer. I like wake up everyone. Oh, now what are we hearing? All these like envelope sounds like like a synthesizer of some sort, kind of like the synthesizer. Let's see, I try and all the albums just become a blur. I've heard that on, I believe, Jan Hammer's output from this time period. Maybe on like Oh Yeah, I heard a sound kind of like that. Yeah, I'd have to think about that. Actually, That sound is kind of heard on Elegant Gypsy, the first track. Aldo Meolo's second album. Now the bass is kind of different. It's giving us more of kind of like a brisk, sort of like jazz rock figure. Yeah, now we're really much more in jazz rock mode here. Yeah, a lot's going on. That's yeah, the bass is really giving us some choice accents here, like fluid and moving around one moment, then like holding a note and pausing the next. And we've also got that one kind of thin keyboard, like really frantic on the keyboard. Is that a guitar sound? It's like some kind of like pedal that's been used on both synthesizer. Maybe it's like a guitar being played through a synth. I've heard that they could actually do that. Yeah, if you know how that sound's being created, let's see. Is there any evidence? This album was produced. I don't. These Discogs, the way they list things on here. If I bring up the. I'm not going to find that information. I just, yeah. Nothing but basic information on like instruments played. No makes, models, or effects pedals given. That doesn't sound like either a guitar or a synthesizer. It's got a certain kind of like tactile feel that just doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel either like strings or keys to me. I guess I can kind of picture that as a guitar. Oh, and the bass is just like so complex. I mean, there's so much going on here. Just dizzying, boom, boom. The drumming is just like kicking this. Like it's turned into like a vortex, spiraling vortex. So much energy coming from all these guys. I mean, the drumming just won't quit. Just amazing. Well, we heard a lot of diversity, of just stylistic diversity in that track. I mean, we went from kind of like lighter jazz, like post bop with Fender in the beginning with some great sax solos. Then we went into this kind of candlelighter, real like atmospheric, almost just a real relaxing few minutes, and of sustained notes and light notes here and there, and then we go into this really like head spinning, more kind of like modernistic, like mid-70s, just with like all these kind of twisty, windy, wiggly sounds, and yeah, showing their range. Extra Ball with the track The Seven from their 1976 album Birthday. Their first of, I guess, 4 or 5 studio albums. Yeah, I guess I need to dig a little bit more into their discography. I've got their second studio album proper after this, but I'm a little bit looking at these. I don't know. There's 6 albums according to Discogs, but I suspect only 4 of them are studio. Anyway, yeah, mostly released on Pole Jazz label. Um, for more rubies and sapphires, well, from two of the extra ball albums and from various other Polish jazz and jazz rock albums from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. See the directory of albums from the former Eastern Bloc, linked in the description below, for Red Hot Tracks and Purples from more than 600 albums from the former Eastern Bloc: Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia. Yeah. Like and subscribe and follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the track we just heard. The speed, the density, the flurry of notes, the layers, the sounds, the sections, the different moods, the stylistic diversity of it all, the harmonics. Oh yeah, and if you can pinpoint exactly what was giving that wiggly sound during the final third of the song, yeah, let me know. Was it a pedal? Was it a certain kind of unique instrument to this time period that wasn't mentioned in the credits? Was it a certain kind of setup? Yeah. Until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most air-traveled trimaximalist, signing off.